Well, hello all. It has been raining during the night and it's raining cats and dogs today. And I'm going to try out my new 3-candle powered stove. So I've got a pan that I'm going to put on top. We've got a little bit of oil somewhere. Bit of oil. We've got some bread. I'm going to be looking for my knife to cut a hole in the bread. So here's my little knife. Let's cut a hole in the bread. I don't know if you can hear it's raining and dripping. So here's the hole in the bread. Let's mix the oil around on the pan. And then we're going to put an egg in the hole of the bread. And let's see if that cooks it. We've got a lid. That'll keep the heat in. There we go. Now I want to show you, I got something new. This airbed. And boy was it comfortable sleeping here last night on the airbed. It really makes a difference. Let's see how that's doing. Well, we'll have to leave it and see if it gets hot enough to cook our egg and to cook. I don't see why not. 3-candle powered stove. But as I say, with this airbed, I agonized long about buying it. Not because it costs about 250 Rand or about 17 US dollars. But I just thought, do I want more junk lying around the house? Is this just going to become a white elephant, something wasted? But in the end, after thinking about it for an inordinately long period of time, I finally weakened and bought it thinking, okay. But it is actually super nice. I mean, because sometimes when you're stealth camping, you don't sleep as well. You will keep waking and turning, and my hip gets sore lying on just a piece of foam mattress or foam rubber. So I must say I was impressed. A bit of the air leaked out, but not enough so that I ended up sleeping on the ground. So it was just a really nice sleeping on this airbed. But it brings me back to, I kept asking myself, do I really need this? What is necessary? What is it that a person really needs? And that is actually the bigger question. Not just this airbed. I mean, I know I don't need this airbed. I know I can get by without this airbed. But this airbed just is pretty nice. It makes a pretty nice sleep. But in general, what is needed? And, I'm going to cut right to the chase. And there's a story in Luke 10 about, Jesus used to visit Mary, Martha, and Lazarus in their house in, I think it was Bethany. It's a close walk to Jerusalem. So every time he was visiting Jerusalem, he would come and stay with them. And when Jesus came to stay, you had 12 hot, tired, dusty men that he took around with him at least. So it was a big, huge entourage. And catering for these guys was quite a big problem. And one day, as he was in the house, Martha was doing the catering, and her sister Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet just listening to his words. And Martha got so frustrated because, I mean, she's got this huge crowd, she's got to cater for them. And her sister Mary is just sitting there doing nothing but listening to Jesus. And in frustration, she comes to Jesus and she says, don't you tell her to come and help me? And Jesus says, Mary has chosen the good part, and that part won't be taken away from her. So she had chosen the better thing, the better role, which is to sit at Jesus' feet and listen to him talk and to spend time with him rather than working for the Lord. Martha was working flat out for the Lord. And then Jesus says, Martha, Martha, you are troubled and careful about many things. So you're saying, even though you're working for me and you're doing a wonderful job of catering, the better part is to just sit and listen. And so I feel this is just one illustration of the most important thing we can do is spend time just sitting and listening to Jesus or God. That is needful. And Jesus even said, but one thing is needful, and that is, and she has chosen that better part. So one thing is necessary, and that is he didn't say that the catering was necessary. The catering wasn't actually necessary. The catering could have waited, or I don't think Jesus cared terribly much about the catering at all. He was used to roughing it. But the one thing that was needful was to spend time with Jesus and God. Now, I think of another case, and all these stories in the Bible are there for a reason. And we go back to Eden and the so-called fall of Adam and Eve. What is the one thing that the fallen Adam and Eve do once they've fallen? They hide from God. They don't want to spend time with him like they used to spend in the late afternoon in the garden, in the cool of the day. It says that God used to come and spend time with Adam and Eve, talk to them, just hang out with them and spend time with them. So basically, the very first thing that the so-called fallen Adam and Eve did was not want to spend time with him. In fact, to hide from him. And then when God pronounces judgment on Adam and Eve, and they blame each other, and they blame the snake, and they do everything except the right thing. And the right thing to do, and then God says, okay, I'm banishing you from my presence, so now you won't be able to spend time with me in future. Instead of saying, oh God, like David did, please don't hide yourself from me, just please don't be far from me, I need your company, I love you, I want you. Instead of, you don't hear any of that from Adam and Eve. They just take their punishment and they leave Eden, and they get banished from Eden, and they get banished from God's presence. And yeah, that was the first thing that the fall of man teaches us, is that the fallen man is far from God's presence, doesn't spend time with God, doesn't have access to God. It doesn't have the one thing that is actually needful, and that is to spend time with God. So I get to ask myself in life, what are the things that are needful? Is it needful for me to be young, gorgeous, and handsome? No, Jesus wasn't gorgeous and handsome. Is it needful for me to be rich? No, Jesus wasn't rich. None of the apostles were rich. Is it needful for me to be a captain of industry? No. None of the disciples was a captain of industry. This seems to be cooking quite nicely. I don't know why there's so much smoke, candle smoke, but anyway, the lid is keeping that smell out from the toast. No, none of the apostles was a captain of industry. Is it needful for me to be a great entertainer and comedian and joke teller and popular? No. Jesus was hardly known among the people of Nazareth or Capernaum. They just said, isn't this the carpenter? He wasn't like a captain of industry. He was hardly known. He was in fact despised when the name of Jesus came to mind and you don't see Jesus as any of his school friends joining his disciples. So all the things we take as necessary. Oh, you must be successful. Who says you must be successful? Where in the Bible does worldly success, is that a need? Where is it needful for you to be rich, successful, popular, gorgeous? All of the things that we esteem, I must get millions of likes, and I must be the life and soul of the party. I must be a rich person. Oh, you're going to be prosperous. God has got it in your future. You're going to be prosperous. Your destiny has got prosperity and health and wealth and success. Oh, the doors are opening for you this year, my son. I declare it. And if you will accept it, say amen. No, none of that stuff even enters into biblical equations. So we find that, let's just turn our egg. We find that all the things that the world regards as so important. Oh, prosperity, wealth. There, it's cooking. I do quite like a soft egg. Prosperity, wealth. Hey man, even this mattress. I need a trophy wife. The Bible doesn't even say you need to get married. In fact, Paul discourages the idea of getting married. Things that that people just say you need. You must have so much set aside for your retirement. No, who says so? Oh, you must, I don't know. I haven't thought through all the things that people say we must have, or that preachers say that we must have. So what is actually needful? Well, this mattress wasn't needful, but it was very nice, I must say. And if I'd thought about it, this mattress occupies far less space than a sponge roll-up ground sheet. It occupies about half the space. So it fits nicely into a haversack. So I really do like it from that point of view, that I can carry, the last thing you want to do when you're walking into an area, when you're stealth camping, is to look like you're camping. So you don't want to carry one of those bedrolls, because everyone then knows that you're a bum and you're camping and you're an outie and you're a homeless hobo. Whereas in fact you might just be a stealth camper. But either way, you don't want to advertise the fact that in your haversack you've got sleeping material. So I really do like this haversack, this blow up airbed. But the good book says that having food and raiment, let us be there with content. And in Eden they were content even without raiment. They were content just with the food that they plucked off the branches. I mean, imagine that, a world where you could just sit and eat fruit, and all that they were told to do was dress the garden. They were told to be gardeners. I mean, think about it. Gardening is kind of despised as, how can gardening fulfill God's purpose? That was all God required of them, and to spend time with him. That was needful, that they spend time with him, that they draw close to him. That's the only thing that was needful. The gardening even is incidental. But presumably there was something that the garden needed to be taken care of. I suppose, I don't know what you needed. The fruit trees need pruning or whatever. Who knows? But we take it, like our human occupations, we take it as so important. We even, in our mind, conflate it with doing the will of God. And the more successful we are at our worldly job, the more rich we are, the more famous we are, the more successful we are, the more high up in industry. If we're a captain in industry, religion, especially these big colossal churches, seem to say, oh, well, that makes you a great Christian. If you're just a gardener, quietly minding your own business and spending time with God, you're nothing. You're an absolute success. I mean, but look at the apostles. They were fishermen. They were in this worldly life unimportant people. And then they became people who went around and taught other people. They became people who spread the gospel. That's all they did. They were by every other standard of the world. They weren't rich, they weren't handsome, they weren't popular, they weren't so many things they weren't. Yum, yum. And just look at that, how nice that looks. And yet we, in our mistaken churchianity, think that we've got to be so many things to be right with God. No, the only thing we need to do to be right with God is to spend time with God. That's the one thing that is needful, is that we spend time with God. How do you like these? These are chutney bottles with a candle in them. I drilled a little hole in each bottle. I'm just looking for the hole there with a hole saw. Let me see if I can take. Oops. Okay, the reason I put these candles in bottles is so that if they fall over, they don't set the place alight. But if you look carefully, you'll be able to see a hole maybe in that bottom of the bottle. I drilled that with a hole saw, so that if the candles fell, so you need that to feed air up to the top of the air can flow to the top there. But if the candle bottle falls over, it doesn't set the whole place on fire. I think sometimes Christians just place so much pressure on themselves. Oh, I think some of these mega popular big churches place high expectations on them and give people the wrong expectation. If we got food and we got raiment, we can be there with content. God doesn't say we've got to become a captain in industry, that we've got to be hugely successful. You can be pottering around in your garden, you can be good with God as long as you're spending time with Him. In fact, that's all that God called the unfallen Adam and Eve to do. But I want you to notice that the very first thing that happened to Adam and Eve on contact with Satan, the very first thing, was Satan told them that they were naked. So the very first thing is they feel they need clothes. And they start feeling ashamed. They start getting needs that they never had before. Who said they need clothes? Who said they needed to be clothed? Satan started creating these needs. And then Eve looks at the tree and she thinks, this will make me wise. Who says she wasn't wise? Satan had created a need in her that she felt she was dumb and that she needed to eat the tree to be complete. So the very first thing is now they start running around creating clothes for themselves. And you know what God does? He sentences them to exactly the thing that they don't need. And that is he makes their life harder. Now you're going to sweat and toil to earn a living. I'm going to create thorns. I'm going to create obstacles. Gardening, just eking out a living is going to become now a burden for you. Why? Because you don't want to spend time with me. Okay, fine. Then you can spend your time running around doing all the things that modern man does, all these useless, wasteful, stupid, time-wasting things that we do. And we don't do the one thing that's needful, and that's just to spend time with God. And if we pray to God, if you listen to God, God will speak to you. If you throw time at God, God will start talking in your own mind. The Holy Spirit will start teaching you, bringing scriptures to your mind, and he'll start telling you, this is important, and all the rest isn't. So if we've got food, if we've got raiment, all the other things that people just agonize and waste time, the social media, the friends, I need to have a wife, I need to have friends, I need to be popular, I need this, I need that, I need the other. Do you? Can you not be happy? And certainly you can be saved without all those things. I mean, the thief on the cross just needed the company of Jesus. He said, I want to be in your kingdom, I want to spend time with you, I want to be with you. Yeah, he did the one thing that's needful, he didn't. All the other things, having friends, popularity, captain of industry. I should have thought through all the things that people strive after, but if you had to analyze them, it's just unnecessary. It's just something that's got you on that hamster wheel. Get off the hamster wheel. The only thing you need to do is spend time with God. And all the rest is not a need. But that is the one thing is a need. And just having your food and raiment, how quickly that can be sometimes satisfied. Especially in our Western culture. And even in other cultures, if you weren't wasting all your money on this stupid pagan stuff that people spend it on, the marriage where you got to save up the dowry and you got to do this and that and the other, and everything costs so much, and things are so expensive, and you're just wasting money. If you took that money and just spent it on food and raiment, my word, a couple of changes of clothing, one set of shoes, one pair of shoes, you're done on the raiment front. And people always have raiment to give you. And then food is not hard to obtain, especially if you take good, cheap, healthy food. Bread, egg, how much did that cost? That was a lovely, healthy meal. So I like the fact that this thing gives light. So I like candle power. I can at a pinch cook an egg on it. I probably could boil water on it. I must try that out, boiling water. I have actually tried it, and it does bring water to the boil. Yeah. So something as simple as a bottle with a candle in it can be great for your light and for your heating. And I must say, as far as my stealth shelter is concerned, I just so love this stealth shelter. It's this A-frame that goes down to the bottom. There you see the rest of my bed. There's a pillow. I just love the stealth shelter so much because I can't even think how it can be improved, because watch my last video of how I made this thing. It's just 3 poles lashed together. So yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled with this stealth shelter. It kept all the rain out. It's absolutely waterproof. It's raining outside at the moment. It bucketed down, but it's completely dry inside here. Yeah, it's almost hard to improve on something as simple as that. I'm dying to one of these days take down this piece of DPC and just see what shape it actually is, because when I cut it, I just cut it, I placed it over this is like a A-frame, and I just placed it over the A-frame. I covered the edges with soil, and I'm not exactly sure, but for some good fortune it also created a door, so I can close this at night and keep the rain out as well. So it's fantastic. But anyway, there we go. Happy days are here again.